What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today, we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, I've spoken to probably 300 to 400 guests, and this man right here is the youngest guest I've ever spoken to. But this is the only man that I've spoken to besides Esco Levi that has 2 JUNO Awards. He just came back from Jamaica linking with Sizzla, performed on Original Rubber Dub Thursday. So whole heap of things, and he has a lot going on that we're going to talk about today. You know, we have in the building today, we have Kairo McLean in the building today. What's going on, big boss?
Greetings and respect, Musclehead. Good to speak to you finally.
Hey, you're good.
Truly, I'm good.
Okay, your mom was telling me, say, yo, you were really, I remember when I was in the mall, I'd always sell your mom Bob Marley CDs and stuff, and she said it was really you, and I said, hold on, you were that kid? And it was you.
Ta-da.
This, to me, this is a full circle moment where I've never really seen somebody from baby grow up into an adult and get to sit down and speak to them. So this, for me, is a real experience.
It's incredible, you know. It shows that we're really a part of a community, you know. And we really have to beware what we do. Because if you're doing good, people will see it. And if you're doing bad,
people will see it.
Said we.
So music, because I know you're almost like a child prodigy. You play drums, you sing, you DJ, you sing J, you all this stuff. Where was the first thing that actually introduced you to music? What's the first musical thing you remember?
Well, one of the first musical experiences I remember was my dad plays in a lot of bands in Toronto. He played with the Majestic Warriors. He played with Osiris B, which was his band alongside, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Yes, Mr. Ken. Sorry about that. And he used to play bass a lot around the house, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Playing alongside other musicians. And when he had the free time, when the bass was free, I used to trouble it, you know what I mean? And one of the times he rested it on my leg as a baby, and it was remarkably heavy, you know what I mean? But that was the first experience that I had really connecting with an instrument, you know what I mean? And from then on, I was lucky that the musicians around my father gave me an opportunity to mess around with their instruments as a 3, 4, 5-year-old.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I know you play drums, guitar, keyboard.
So, yeah, here and there.
Okay, so then, you're playing around with your father's bass and stuff like that. But then did your mom put you in like piano lessons, or what was the instrument that you chose first?
Mom chose drums for me. I like drums. I'm not going to lie to you. I love drums. Drums is my favorite instrument. But she chose to put me in formal lessons for that. I went to Soul Drums, big up Soul Drums on Willowdale. And I did that for about 3 years until I was about 5 or 6. And I could play drums. I was too short to play the sitting drums, but I could play congos.
That's a lot going on where it's 2 hands and 2 feet.
It is.
How do you coordinate all of that right there? How do you figure out in your mind to coordinate 2 hands doing different things and your 2 feet doing different things?
I'll tell you, it's difficult. Yeah. But with practice, almost like driving. You know what I mean? Driving is the same action with the 2 hands and 2 feet. Well, 1 foot. 2 feet if you're F1.
Yeah.
But if you can understand that, it's just with practice. Obviously, when you're starting out, it sounds clumsy, like you're just learning to walk. But with practice, you get the fluidity of it.
Yeah.
You know.
From there, so drums was the first. And what was the second instrument that you decided to pick up?
Second instrument I decided to pick up was guitar. Mom put me in guitar lessons, and I did maybe about 3 or 4, maybe 5 guitar lessons before I decided guitar lessons wasn't really going fast enough. And I ended up putting the guitar down for a while. And it was around COVID time when I picked it back up.
Okay.
And during COVID, when I should have been doing online school, I took it as free time, you know.
Yeah.
But I actually ended up teaching myself how to play guitar and using YouTube videos, and with the aid of dad knowing how to play bass, I practiced up and learned my scales and learned my chord shapes. So I learned the basics of guitar from there, you know what I mean?
And what made you decide to pick it back up in COVID? Out of any instrument you could have picked up then?
Well, I decided that I really like singing then, you know what I mean? And I always knew that I love singing, but I decided that if I was going to perform on stage, I'd want to be able to be a front man rather than have to be a front man sitting down. You can do that. There's Grub Cooper and there's the I can feel it coming in the Phil Collins.
Yes.
You can do it, and there's great legends who've done it, but I like moving.
Yeah.
As you can, if you watch any of my stage shows, I love the movement.
That's your thing there. I know you sing, you DJ, and you sing Jay. What was the first thing you started to do?
The first thing I started to do was, well, really, I started to babble and try and DJ like my dad, because dad's a DJ. But I love singing, you know what I mean? Because I followed Bob Marley, like you were saying before. And I just always imitated him, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It was a Bob Marley vibe that really grabbed you.
Bob Marley vibe, you know?
All right, so you say singing, cool. 2021 is when you pick back up the guitar. And this was the same time when you put out your debut EP.
Yes.
So how long was that between picking back up the guitar to putting out the debut EP? How much time was in between all of that?
Maybe about 8 months.
About 8 months.
I had probably picked up the guitar in the beginning of the year, and the EP was finalized. No, apologies. I had picked up the guitar around 2020.
Yeah.
So I had started a little bit before, November, December, all the way up. The EP was released in April. So I had a little bit of time ahead, you know, but I wanted to be prepared for the stage shows, you know?
And that was, so you were really, you're putting together your music, but you couldn't wait to really perform this music.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And other people's songs, because before then, and even now, I perform a lot of covers. And like I said, Bob Marley plays guitar, you know what I mean? So in imitating him to the fullness.
Yeah. So when you even listen to that EP, boss, the production on that EP, amazing.
Thank you.
You understand? This is not like, you know, sometimes you might make a reggae song and it's strictly keyboard and you could tell that it's only keyboard. But this production, whatever you guys did, that was amazing, boss.
Thank you.
Proper bass, proper instrumentation, everything proper.
Big up to Tim Dubs. Big up to Willow Records, you know? Yeah.
How did that EP do for you?
How did it do for me?
Yeah.
It did well, you know what I mean? I'm not going to lie to you. In terms of what I've been able to experience out of it, I've been able to start my musical journey properly, I think. There's a lot of artists who their debut EP or their debut album is so and they have to work up till they get the but I think that was a good first kick at the cat, you know?
You're sitting here, right?
You see what I'm saying?
So I had to do something, right?
Alongside the great.
I'm working on the great. Working on it. Understand? EP came out now. How old were you when you put out that EP?
I was 12.
You were 12, boss. I remember watching an interview with you. I think it was with CVMT, Jamaica Sunrise.
Right.
And just seeing how this is a little kid, but you were so poised and everything. How you would see that you were a kid again when you started to giggle and laugh. You said, okay, yeah, he's a little kid. But besides how you were speaking, you presenting, when he said, okay, give me an acapella. And he said, okay, give me 1 second. And you brought your guitar, and the man almost was shocked. Like, what are you going to do with this? He said, acapella. But he said, okay. And then when you started to knock the guitar, boss, I said, yo, this guy's a genius, bro.
Give thanks. Thank you. You know
what I mean?
Thank you.
Holy
and I'm working on it as well, you know? Not genius yet.
Yeah.
More to learn. Working on it.
We're working on it together, right?
Absolutely.
Good to go. So then it came out. Where was the first time you actually got to perform now?
The first time I got to perform was on Jambana, 2014. And like I was saying, Dad did some work with the Majestic Warriors. Big up to Kevin and Mama J. Big up to the Jungle Posse, you know? And working with them, I ended up getting the opportunity to perform with them Jambana 2014. And I did one song. It was One Drop. And it was the great experience that I hoped it would be, you know what I mean? Mom was shaking like a leaf. If you ever see the recording that she had, it's unwatchable. No, but she was asking me beforehand if I was nervous, and I was telling her, you know what I mean? I'm not really nervous. And I don't think it was out of like, oh, this is like, it was out of this is what I always wanted to do, but also I was 6. So you could imagine, like, if you learn skydiving when you're 6, by the time
you don't have no real inhibitions at that time. Oh, they're looking at me. You don't care.
I don't really
I want to
care.
go out and do this.
Exactly.
This is what I want to do.
Exactly. So I figure, you know what I mean? That's what really fostered what you see before you.
Jambana. Somebody else I think you might have linked with early in your career too would have been Joshua Lucas.
Joshua Lucas.
When I think of Joshua and when I think of you, I see Joshua almost as like your older brother, you the younger brother, and you guys would sit down and talk about do music and all this stuff for hours upon end. Is that the truth?
And it's somewhat of the truth.
Yeah.
When we link, it's music talk straight on. Joshua will play a piece of a Bob Marley concert and say, "What year is this from?" And we'll sit and banter. And honestly, when I first met him at Pondacana with Kirk Diamond.
Okay.
And Kirk Diamond had said the same thing before I had met him. He had said, "This, you guys, you know what I mean? You don't know it yet, but you're gonna have a connection with this gentleman." And so said, so done. You know.
Yeah. As you said, he tests you, okay, what year was this? Who sang this song?
Exactly.
What studio engineer did this? What studio did they record in?
And honestly, I know the knowledge, so I don't mind it. It annoys my sister, it annoys the heck out of mom, you know, but...
But you guys like what you like. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Love what you love. And this is what you love. Kirk Diamond, now, how did you connect with Kirk Diamond?
Like I said, at Pondacana. I was invited to join him. This was on Eglinton when his base was down there. And, you know what I mean, we obliged. I love doing sound system events differently from stage shows. Yeah. And I figured it was an opportunity to voice out. This was, 2022? About them times there. And we went down there, boom, 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 boom. We started to get things going. Other artists started to sing. I met Stretch.
Okay.
And then Kirk Diamond started with his lyrics, his fast talking lyrics, and I noticed, you know what I mean. So from then on, we you know what I mean, got acquainted. He heard some of my stuff, and he said, you know what I mean, we have to link.
Yeah,
so
make
for
a link,
yeah. And he just like Joshua Lucas became, you know what I mean, my bigger brother, you know what I mean.
Because we're gonna catch up with Kirk Diamond down the road a bit, but first I want to get to your, cause I introduced you. I said you won 2 JUNOs,
right?
All right. First JUNO now. How did that come around and what did you win the JUNO for?
First JUNO came around. I won the JUNO for Best Reggae Song. And like I said, the EP released in 2021. We didn't know that the producer entered it for the JUNO. Okay. Until it was nominated. And he brought it to us. And by the time then, you know what I mean, it already had started the whirlwind of kind of buzz on Instagram and what have you. So we kind of followed it. Go to the JUNOs, not expecting much, you know what I mean? Mom can attest, dad can attest, and my name gets called, fortunately. Luckily, it was in Toronto too, so, you know what I mean?
Because I know they usually, that year they kept it in Toronto, because they usually keep it in different places in the country.
Exactly, and the next year we were fortunate to go to Calgary, but luckily that year, my first year, it was in Toronto, and my name was called. Luckily, like, I still can't believe it when I think about it.
So when you heard them say, winner is Kairo McLean, did you, like, pause for a second and say, did they really say my name, or you were just happy to go get your award right away?
Well, mom wanted to hug me, but I jumped up and I flashed up to the stage in an instant.
Yeah. Did you have a speech ready to go, or you had to do it on the spot?
They told me to prepare a speech. I spoke from my heart that day.
But you're a freestyler. You like to freestyle. Yes, you write things down. Right. But you like to freestyle too when you're DJing your own song.
Exactly. Yeah. And I figure speaking from your heart sometimes is best. You give the most honest view that way. And I went up there and I said, Ja, Rastafari. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now you won it now. How did the industry really start to look at you and say, hey, we have this wonder kid right here? Or what started to happen from there after you won your first JUNO?
The industry started to look at me, different from the reggae community. There's some notable Canadian musicians who started to view me. You know what I mean? Big up to Cardinal Official and the likes. Yeah. Maestro Fresh West, same way. And, you know what I mean? I started to I still par with them, but from then on, that's when they started to give me a real look in.
And those are the giants, boss.
They're the huge
What I
ones.
mean?
They're the
From
huge
from
ones.
you get an endorsement from somebody like a Cardinal that he's been doing this and he understands what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because he's been mixing. He does more hip hop and reggae, but he understands the foundation. From he gives you that green light,
It's
you're out
good
the
to
door.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maestro's another one because he was the first Canadian rapper to do crazy stuff too. So from you're getting the approval from those guys, and especially in different genres of music,
Right.
you're good to go.
I think so, and I respect them to the maximum even before I studied music. So it was just great to be able to get that respect from them.
Definitely. I said we're going to pick up Kirk Diamond. So then this is where we pick up Kirk Diamond. Now.
Right.
2022, you won for Best Reggae Album or Best Reggae Song?
Best reggae recording.
Recorded. Okay, so album song. Okay. 2023, no. This is when you and Kirk Diamond won again. Talk to me about that.
Kirk Diamond called and asked if I would like to do a tune. Like I said, we had linked up at Pondacana previously, and we had kept engagements coming up to this, and he had called and said, you know what I mean, do you want to be on this song? This is around, when, June, July, them times there. Called and said, do you want to be on the song? And I said, why not? You know what I mean? Sounds good. Sent the song over, and I used GarageBand to do some scratch vocals and sent them back over. And he liked them. And the next day, we went to his studio and I licked them out. Nothing came of it until, September when it came out?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Kirk Diamond Reggae Party, here's it coming to you. I didn't, the verse sounded good, you know what I mean? And then from there on, I was working with it.
Wow. And this was as you said, Reggae Party's a song. This was with Kirk Diamond and DJ Finn.
Yes.
Yeah.
DJ Finn's the producer.
Yeah.
Right.
So did you guys go on like a Canadian tour, go around and actually start performing that song, or what had happened after you won and the song came on?
Interestingly enough, no tour came of it. Kirk went around and performed the song, and where I couldn't follow him, he sang. You know what I mean? I don't really know what they did to my part, but maybe a horn solo or whatever. And when he came around, I got to perform it. So it never became like a one of those kind of move around Canada things. I wish it did.
Yet.
Not yet. Not yet. When the time's right.
Yeah. Would you say because you were more in school, that's why you couldn't really move around the way how that song probably needed you to move around?
I think so. Like, it could be. It could be. It could be a factor of many things. I just want to say, though, don't let school stop you from hiring me for shows, right? Because music is life, right? But school is also very important. And as you can see, Mom is right behind me on that. So I think school has a factor in it. But I'd love to do shows more so and perform those songs, you know what I mean? Because I don't feel right performing it by myself, right?
It's like you'll get the crowd to sing his part, and then you come back and do your
I might
part.
have to do that.
You know what I mean?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it from you.
I watch a lot of stage shows, so I kind of have an idea of what they do
Right.
when the other partner isn't around that sang the song with them. Do you
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? Make the crowd sing, and then you come in and sing your part.
Exactly.
Everybody's happy. It's a win-win. Good. Have this stuff out. We didn't even really get to touch on school. How do you balance school and music? Because I know it seems like you love music so much that you might get carried away with music and forget school sometimes, or am I seeing it the wrong way?
That's a good forecast.
Yeah.
That's a good forecast. School is necessary.
100%.
See what I'm saying? But music is my passion,
Okay.
if you can understand that. Actually, like, sometimes I think if I didn't start music so early, what would I have wanted to pursue? I like political science, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'd like to make some civil changes, you know what I mean? I see things going on, like, even with the gardener me and Mom were talking about yesterday. And, like, we're talking about spending taxpayer money, which is expensive to repair something that's slightly functional or lick it down, which was my point. But anyway, you know what I mean? School, some of the things that they teach in school, I enjoy outside of school more than I do in school.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like science, I like doing the experiments by myself, if you can understand that.
100%.
I find out things better like that. I love school. I love the process of you know what I mean, seeing my friends and going through the. But I don't know.
But your passion is
My
music.
passion's music.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could. I gotta watch what I say. I'm
his
walking
mom's
on
off
eggshells.
camera giving him an interesting look, but hey, we'll just leave that alone for
Leave that
another
alone.
time.
School is necessary. I love school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Big up Brave Buff.
Do you plan on going to college or university? And if so, what do you plan on taking there? Because I know music is your passion, yes, but we're all multi-dimensional beings. You understand?
Right.
Yes, I love music, but I'd go home and watch documentaries on AI, nature, all type of stuff.
As
you know what I
do
mean?
I.
Because that's my other side of me.
Right.
So if you're going to pursue something in college, what will you pursue?
Like I was saying, political science. But other than that, music, you know what I mean? I want to go to a music school to round out.
Trebas are one of those there?
No, I want to go to Edna Manley in Jamaica, actually.
Okay. Okay.
And let's leave that at that, right? So when you see me in Jamaica, you'll know why.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, I have another side of me. Like I like to read. You know what I mean? I like to be well studied on civil issues, black issues. You know what I mean? I like political science. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
Yeah.
But you're in the music business is a political world.
right.
So some of that political science just might help along the way.
I think so.
You understand? Good to go. After you win 2 Junos now, how do your friends treat you in school? When you go to school now, I just won all this big stuff on the weekend, but I got to come back now to Mr. John's science class. How do
You
your
know,
friends
they
treat you?
they don't treat me differently. The teachers will say, "Oh, Kairo," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And say Juno winner because they kind of understand what the Junos are. But to my friends who
Yeah.
reggae is their parents' music, they don't really have the bearing of what reggae music is. So if I was to say like, "Oh, I met Sizzla,"
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Oh, nice, yeah." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Come
but-
here, buy me lunch. I don't have lunch money or something.
But
You
tell
know?
them you met Lil Yachty. That's a different story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which Lil Yachty, big up yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely. So doing yourself. So even that too, you love reggae. And it's not even just like you like Skeng and Valiant and those man. You like the foundation reggae.
Exactly.
How do you, when you're with your friends, how do you guys almost even share the love of music since you're so far over here and they're over there? How do you guys connect and share a love of music?
They respect what I'm doing because they see the works. They see, you know what I mean? They see you and the likes who are working alongside me and they say, "Wow, you know what I mean? I like that you're doing things. I like that you're going places."
Yeah.
But like they hate my music taste. They can't
They don't grasp it yet.
Yeah.
But you see, once they get there, just, oh, now I understand. Or once they see you at the tip top, then they say, hey, you remember that guy that used to play the music that we hated?
Yeah.
That's him. I know that guy.
Exactly.
That's when things change. So you gotta almost be good with going at it alone and being happy with it.
That's where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is I can relate to their music because obviously coming from the foundation going down, you get a better understanding than coming from the tip of the tree and trying to dig to the root. Right? I can understand like the Lil Yachty's and the Kendrick Lamar Drakes and you know what I mean? But I still love what I love too. So
Your heart just loves it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even when they played their music, like Sav, big up to Sav, big up to Hoodlum Ancho, you know what I mean? I listen to it and I nod my head and I say, oh wow, bar, you know what I mean? Because
you appreciate music.
right,
Yeah. Even though that might be more hip hop based or whatever, but you understand music. A bar is a bar, a line is a line, a kick is a kick,
Exactly.
a drum line is a drum, a bass line
And
is a bass
some of
line.
them I take because some of them are nice, eh? So, you know.
It's all good. So even artist-wise, who besides Bob Marley, who else inspires you, even DJ-wise?
I like, DJs. I like General Trees. I like storytellers. Dad's a storyteller. You know what I mean?
So you're probably the Trees, the Papa Sans, the
The Trees, the
Stitchies.
Papa Sans, the Stitchies. But my favorite DJ of all time is Nicodemus. And the reason why? The reason why Nicodemus...
Little shot man, boss.
Maddest.
Yeah, man. He's just super cool.
Mr. Fabulous. Holy crow.
Mr. Fabulous, Mr. Demos.
He's second.
Bro.
And every DJ kind of took his coolness to lay back on the rhythm. You know what I mean? After him, every DJ kind of had that same, me sweeter than the coffee where they in a thermos, me nicer than the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A circle back, you know what I mean? I like Demos, I like Cat.
Bro, my favorite old artists is Super Cat and Nicodemus. Those two right there, boss. Especially on Sturmers.
They're a rough combination.
Listen to me.
I'm telling you.
Those two right there. From you say Demos and Cat, you know what you're talking
Super Cat has a different edge though. You know what I mean? I like that about him. Super Cat's more ragamuffin. Demos is more like mafioso boss, but Super Cat's more
cool and yeah.
you know what I mean? I like Super Cat. I like Ray Charles. You know what I mean?
How come?
How come?
Yeah.
Reggae. Before they were listening to reggae, they were listening to American music on the radio
100%.
stations. And for you to understand the root of reggae, you kind of have to delve into more American music. You know what I mean? Delve into more jazz. So I listen to like Louis Jordan, Louis Prima. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I listen to like Conway Twitty them. I listen to my brother. I hear the train coming, Johnny Cash, and so on and so forth. I like Jay-Z.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite rappers. I think he's probably my favorite rapper at this moment. 50 Cent, big up yourself. Hoodlum Hancho, big up yourself. I rate your music, you're tough.
And that's so Jay-Z over here, Hoodlum over here. That's such a... But the fact that you just love music, boss. You see, when you love music, you're going to find something in everything that you're going to like, take this piece here, take that piece here. But you know your foundation, your hardcore, this is what I love.
Absolutely.
But it's all music.
I was relating to one of my friends about Chelino Sanchez and bando music the other day. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Good music is everywhere.
Good music. Are you producing now too?
Yes, I am.
You do produce?
I do produce. I produce some of my own stuff. Pardon? Yeah. I if you check out my my mixtape, one of the songs on there is mine. The Wisdom EP, I produced Just a Little Hope. It's my rhythm. And you know what I mean? I try.
Yeah.
I try to be all rounder in music, and I don't do it for the looks. I do it because, like you say, I have the passion for the music. You know what I mean?
You love it.
Truly.
You love what you love.
Truly.
All this going on, I want to talk about something I've seen lately. Your trip to Jamaica, boss. Listen,
Raga.
was that your first trip as somebody in the music business?
Yes.
That was your first trip?
Yes, it was.
So everything was brand new and exciting when you saw it.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying?
What was it like the first time when you went to Jamaica and then you got out of the airport and you just smelled Jamaica? What was that like?
That was nice. It was nice. First time in a while that when that happened, you know what I mean? And the heat hit me. I bought a ski mask because that's the look down there. I'll be honest, you know what I mean?
You're trying to shiesty out there?
Yeah, I'm trying to shiesty out there with them, you know what I mean? I said, wow, Midgie, but differently. I was going to wear it. Mom said, I want to see you wear it when you come out of the airport. I'm glad I didn't because it was a heat wave, but I acclimated. You know, I was sweating for the first couple of days. I acclimated, you know what I mean?
Perfect. What was the first thing you guys did when you got there?
First thing we did. What was the first thing we did? The first musical show we did was Rubber Dub. First thing we did was just drive around it. I mean, we went to St. Mary up on a retreat content. Big up to the St. Mary Massive, you know what I mean? And chilled out. But then we went to Rubber Dub Thursday. And I got to meet some of the veterans like Fred Locks them. You know what I mean? I got to meet Reverend Danny Dread.
Yes.
My DJ from long time, you know, Sturmers,
Metro Media.
Metro Media. Peter Metro. I got to shake hands with Lucia and Olive for them.
Yeah.
And really take in the vibe, you know? That was dancehall is different over there, you know what I mean? It's much different.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. When you say it's different, what do you mean by that? What's the biggest difference that you saw, felt, or experienced there than you do home?
Well, and it's funny thing because it's a lot of Jamaicans that come to Canada who support dancehall here. But it should have the same vibe where, because you live reggae as a Jamaican, hearing reggae every day, just walking to the shop, you know what I mean? You should be ingrained with it. You know what I mean? It should be like something that is revered, but it's like reggae is kind of colder here. They respect it.
We live in a cool country.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So I can't fault nobody.
Yeah. But when you're on the ground though, it's a different vibration.
Because people just listen reggae. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not foreign. I don't have to say I'm a reggae artist. I just say I'm an artist. And they say artist. If you understand what I'm saying from there.
They get it from there. What was the experience now actually performing at Rub It Up Thursdays now? Remember, we've seen it. We've been seeing it for a couple of years now. It's all good. We even watched Joshua Lucas. He was down there in the sound class. All that. We've seen played the Lindo piano. We've seen all of that now. That's cool on a phone or on a screen, you know.
Right.
What's it like when they say, Kairo McLean from Canada, are you that?
Right.
Yeah. What's that? What was that like?
Well, like I'm saying, I don't get weary for no shows. I'm not afraid to go on any stage. But like, I guess being on the ground, it was just nicer. You know what I mean? The dance hall was just sweeter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the people were ready for reggae music. Some of the songs that I sing here, like, okay, for instance, some of the songs that I sing here, Mom would tell me, be careful what you sing here because, like, sometimes people don't have that deep of a knowledge of the reggae. So you have to come to the top 40, depending on where you go. There's no need for that in Jamaica because they know all of the songs. You know what I mean? So, like, the vibe was just sweeter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The mixer man is ready. The sound is playing crisp because they play sound every day. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time getting to do that where I dreamed of doing it. You see?
What you dreamed and what happened in real life, was it that exact same thing that you dreamt of?
When I think now, yes.
Yeah.
Even the Joe Lickshot, up to the Joe Lickshot.
Yeah.
It was like...
But if you're talking about Cat and Demos them, you remember or you should know Joe Lickshot from Sturmers days.
The original.
No, if Joe, he was the original sampler, basically.
Yeah.
Those time, because there was no sampler. He was the sampler. So from Joe Lickshot, took the mic from you and gave you that type of big up in Jamaica.
It was beautiful, you know what I mean? From I seen history. Because like I'm saying, Nicodemus them get the forward from Joe Lickshot when he says, 6 Union, come together, shut down country, hear that. You know what I mean?
Zoom.
Yeah. Fly to ricochet shots and thing, you know? So when I seen him, it was like, wow, you know what I mean? I came down here as a Canadian and I got the respect from the foundation. Mm-hmm. That was really important to me. That I was able to touch and lock in roots and say, yo, I respect your works even from Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they'd be amazed by something like that because of how young you are.
Yeah.
They think it's a big man. Okay, I know you listen stereograph and them things.
Right.
So we expect that. You understand? But you know. Well, you know, what do you know about
Exactly.
it? And then you telling them that Sugar Minot's one of your favorite singers?
One of my favorite.
They're just like, what?
Big up Lincoln Booger, Cadillac Minott.
Yeah.
But differently, they were also kind of alarmed that I was singing these songs because the youth of Jamaica, they're not into reggae that much anymore. Mm-mm. They're into more trap dancehall, you know what I mean? Big up Valiant, big up Skeng.
Yeah.
You know?
You're well-rounded. We know you know what's going on.
I try.
Underground, you know what I mean?
I try.
Another place I seen you was over at the legendary Rockers International.
Yes, sir.
You and Aza.
Aza Lineage.
Yes, man. How was that now? linking up over there now. And again, this is a more on the corner. We're DJing in front of the record shop. What was that experience like?
Well, okay, Dumbarton Avenue, which is where Rub It Up Thursday is kept. It's Kingston 10, you know what I mean? But being in that area, the only thing that was historical to me that I could see was Rub It Up Thursday. But being on Orange Street now, you see what I'm saying? Walking up, coming up, you see big youths, record shops all the way up. When I went there the first day, I met Flabba Holt. When I went to meet Richie from Orange Street Music, I met Flabba Holt just sitting there. You know what I mean?
There. You know how legendary those men are, bro?
from Roots Radix days.
Come on,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, it was just more historic. Even seeing Gregory, Mr. Cool Wall and thing.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was more historic. Rockers International is beside, so forth and so forth and so forth, you know?
And I seen you even met the 7-star general, L.A. Lewis. What's it like actually?
Sonia Bang!
Yo, what's it like meeting him is he the same way in person
You know
as
he's
he is
on
a
all
phone?
the time?
All the time.
All the time. Even at the Crown and thing. Like, big up to LA, you know what I mean? And it was cool. It was cool because I'm just taking in the culture and just in Canada, when you're famous, you show that you're famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're very
Yeah, you have a different
air to you.
Yeah.
But when you're in Jamaica and you're famous, you still move amongst the people. So people who love your work will see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get to see these giants in the music. I met Tony Curtis after I did Dance Out Thursday. He drove by and said, "Youth, mad thing." And I said, "Yo, I have to get a picture with you, you know?" And so forth. I love how the artists interact with the people down in Jamaica.
Because they're underground. We're here linking. Yeah, there's certain caliber that's not going to be able to link with certain people. I get that.
Of course.
But generally, we're here.
You know what I mean?
Where are we going?
That's what I like, you know what I mean? I like being grounded with your roots.
This is a big one now. Judgment Yard.
Judgment
Sizzla
Yard.
Kalonji, bro. Take your time with this story and tell me what happened at Judgment Yard and how you even got to link up with somebody like Sizzla Kalonji.
Right. Big up to King Lion from Zion, from Toronto. He said he was at Judgment Yard and he was reasoning with a few brethren about some things. And while he was there, because we were driving, where were we? We were still in St. Anne, actually. And he said, boom, I'm in Judgment Yard. I heard the phone call and I said, no.
Yeah.
Second day, you know what I mean? I have to get out there and try and see what I go on. If I could meet Sizzla, that'd be a dream. Right? Drive from St. Anne, lick it on the toll and come up. We end up in Augustown now. Can't find Judgment Yard. We take a turn by the church now, and we're flipping back. The driver's saying, "Yo, this is not a place where you wanna
You just want to carry and just
flip
hang
back,
around.
flip back." So we're trying, asking people. You already know that roadside directions in Jamaica is a little bit more difficult. For those of you who don't know, it's a little bit more difficult to understand. It's not Google Maps. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Not at all. Canadians, when they give direction, they tell you the street. Jamaicans, they tell you what to look for.
Yeah.
You
Look
know
for the big rock or
Yeah.
the yellow house.
When you go up so now, which way you come from? Because if you come from so, you have to, you know what I mean?
The roundabout and the two
Exactly.
goat them on.
Exactly. So between getting roadside directions and being on the phone with King Lion trying to find out where he is, because there's two ways to get into Judgment Yard, from the street and from the river. River, we went in and there's too many mosquitoes, so forget that. Went up the street, boom, 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 boom. Found the entrance finally. Lion was standing there. Okay. That's the first. This is the reason why they call it Judgment Yard, I assume, right? Because the stairs to go down into the yard now from the entrance are crazy.
So you have to go down.
You have to go down into the yard. So you're coming off the street, you go through the gate, boom, boom, boom. Lion was showing us. We had another Rasta fellow who was leading us and showing us the way. It was dark, so we had to use our phone flashlights. and walk down the uneven steps. You know what I mean? To Judgment Yard,
Yeah.
big steps all the way down. Mom had to hold on to my arm a couple times. You know what I mean? Jump onto Dad's back, no. But we end up getting down there. Sizzla, we walk in through the gates. Now we're in the yard. Sizzla is sitting there by the table, eating. You could imagine me, like, I'm geeking to meet Sizzla already, but I think I'm saying, yo, you know what I mean? Cool.
Yeah.
And act like you've been there before, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, Lion, show me around. Lion shows me the pool, and I'm not gonna lie, I watched Judgment Yard on videos on YouTube. If you've ever seen Sizzla just chilling in Judgment Yard on the videos. And while the work was being done, I was seeing the progress. Boom, I get there, the progress is done. They have a pool, they have a area where you can go play sound and thing. It's nice over there, you know what I mean? The living area, it's beautiful. And we're taking it easy, cooling, standing by. Sizzla goes to his house. Yeah. No, because Sizzla's been outside all day. It was Sizzla Day that day.
That was when you ended up going.
That was when I ended up going on Sizzla Day.
Yeah.
And he said he was outside dealing with, you know what I mean, things all day and wanted to take a breather. I thought my chance was done. Boom, boom, boom. We're standing there a couple of extra minutes. Mom and Dad are saying, you know what I mean? Might have to
Circle.
yeah. Might have to wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Luckily, Lion makes a move where I don't really know what happened actually. I was talking with them, trying to get them to stay. And then a Rasta comes from behind me and says, yo, you want to meet Sizzla? And I said, yes, I do want to meet Sizzla. Took the opportunity, got to go up to his house, and we were waiting there for maybe 5 minutes, and then he came out, still wearing his high imperial suit, you know? And we exchanged a few words, you know what I mean? We were talking to Sizzla, and I said, yo, Sizzla, I love your music. I'm a musician. Actually, Mom had to tell me to tell him that I was a musician, because I was gushing, you know what I mean? And I got the opportunity to play my music for Sizzla off of my phone, some of my unreleased. Yeah. Sizzla said I gave him Eddie Fitzroy vibes, you know?
That's a big compliment.
It's a big compliment,
like Sizzla,
big compliment. And, you know what I mean? He actually led me up to his studio from there on. So we got an exclusive.
Bro.
We got an exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
That's big there, you know. I think it was even your mom's birthday when you guys were up there.
Yes, it was. It was April 16th. Big up, Mom, you know?
Yeah.
And
so it's birthday, Sizzla Day. You get to go studio, get to link. It's just the perfect storm of everything happening.
It was perfect. It was perfect. He played me some of his songs and gave me some important knowledge on keeping my flow different. You know what I mean? Not having the same flow always. Yeah. Because when you listen to him, he's versatile. First of all, he has files with different types of songs. Girl songs, badman songs, Rasta songs, party songs. And you know what I mean? Prolific. Big up to Sizzla. Big up to One Dada. Judgment Yard.
But see, cause remember, a lot of times seeing it on YouTube and all this stuff is cool, but actually getting to talk to somebody, look around, see what's there. Even you're talking to him, but you looking around and seeing what's there is completely different experience.
It's completely different. You know what I mean? He actually tested me. Lion said, Sizzla said, so, because we were talking for a while and I told him that I play guitar. Sizzla said, so you play guitar up in his studio. And Lion said, test him not. Yeah. Sizzla reaches for a guitar and hands when I tune it up and I strum a few tunes. It was a dream come true. Because like you say, seeing them on YouTube, completely different from getting to really sit in with the people.
In their own environment.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? Where they're comfortable. Albeit tired, but comfortable.
But you're still in your environment.
You see what I'm saying?
Crazy.
It was crazy.
So would you say that would have been the highlight of your trip?
Yeah, I'd say it was a highlight. But I can't really call like one highlight, you know what I mean? I liked different aspects of different things.
Okay. That was the highlight of your day.
Yeah.
That day.
Yeah, that day. Yeah. That day.
Because performing on Rub It Up
was big.
You know what I mean? Rockers, big.
You see what I'm saying?
Sizzla, big.
And then
so it was a highlight of the day.
I enjoyed myself at all of these places too. You know what I mean? So it's like, at no place did I feel like, oh, this is stuffy. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. It was just being on the ground with the artists them that I watch on YouTube.
Crazy. Creating music. And then you came back to Toronto. All right?
Right.
And then I think you got back like a couple days ago. And then last night I seen you at another function.
Right.
With Julie Black. Talk to me about that function.
Right. This was the Toronto Music Experience. It was a fundraiser to raise money for a brick and mortar location, build a museum, right? Okay. They're building a museum for Canadian musicians, which is a big thing, you know what I mean? They ended up raising $250,000 to do it.
Yeah.
And I think like this is something that we need in the reggae community, in the black community in Toronto, you know what I mean? We need to be able to raise money for the causes that we think are important. You know what I mean? That we know are important. Because if we don't raise money, we see that the money is not going to come from a higher power or from anybody else.
You got your feet on the ground. You got to put that shovel in the ground and put in that work.
Exactly.
You understand? That's what, as a community, communities build each other, whether it's as money, physical labor, places, volunteer, whatever it is.
See what I'm saying?
That's how communities build.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I was alongside Julie Black. Nelly Furtado was supposed to be there, but she was on tour. She was in Brazil. Big up, Nelly.
Yeah.
And I was with many other great musicians. I was with the lead singer of the Parachute Club. Yeah. Raga. I was, you know what I mean? I was with the guitarist from Bare Naked Ladies.
Aye.
And Blue Rodeo had showed up, and some of the great musicians, great Canadian musicians.
So were you more or less the reggae representative?
Yes, I was. But I and hearing it from some other people, I was also the newer generation representative. You know what I mean? Like us as the new generation, you know what I mean? We need to come up with music that can be played for years to come, just like the Parachute Club and just like Bare Naked Ladies. And even Julie Black, you know what I mean? We need to make music that lasts the test of time.
You see how I know music is, it's like this. Nobody really wants to, especially younger people,
Right.
They want to create their own lane of music. Yeah, they might take certain things from the past and incorporate it nowadays, but they want to create their own style, sound, vibe, talking, everything in it. So sometimes it's going to get lost in translation for a bit until it's perfected.
Right.
You see, once it's perfected, then we're going to look back 10 years from now, holy smokes, these are classics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For real.
But right now it sounds kind of, I don't know about this.
It's
Because it
warming
doesn't
up.
sound like, it doesn't sound like music that we know from 30 years ago.
Right.
So it just, everything takes time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's why even I was going to say to you, I know you like the hardcore foundation style, but I see you even experiment with some hip hop and stuff like that. Don't ever be afraid
Never.
to experiment. You understand? You have your base, you know what it is you like, this is what people expect from you, but you don't want to just box yourself in.
Right.
You want to experiment. Nothing too crazy. This is what we're used to, and then you got super left field.
Right.
But don't be afraid to experiment, grow, try, learn, test, move forward, try, learn. That's how you're gonna perfect your craft.
Absolutely. And like you were saying, I've been thinking about doing a jazz record, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I love all sorts of music, all sorts of the diaspora's music from America and even Africa, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Many musics that I can try. Polka's left field though, and punk. You don't want to hear none of them.
I said polka. You know what I mean? No, you're funny, bro. What 2025? What can we expect from you for this year here? We're actually in the second quarter of the year.
Yes.
Gearing up to go into the summer. What are we looking at?
We're looking at an album. I can't say too much about the album. We're working with some great legends in the reggae community. You know what I mean? Big up to Kairo McLean. Mm-hmm. You see me? And from I say that, if you can associate. But we're working on an album, singles, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. More shows coming out. And just stay locked on my Instagram because I have more things going on every day. You know what I mean? Summer is when I heat up. and stage shows like dirt. So I could be in Brampton one day and Mississauga the next day, same way.
Working.
So, exactly.
You know who I see a link with good too? Pablo Soul Survival.
Right.
And Lindo P.
Lindo P's Foundation. Big up to Uncle Lindo. I actually have a song with him on my mixtape.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I know you're watching. You're watching.
But it's just for them to really understand, because you see, even in certain hairstyle, I could hear that Lindo influence in there. I said, okay.
I love him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even his work with Cardinal, we were reflecting on yesterday, actually. We were listening to Burnt, the song. Big tune. Din, 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 din. Yeah, man. And, you know what I mean? I respect the works that came before me, especially in the Rasta community, in the dancehall community, in the reggae community, in the Toronto music community.
That's really what it comes down to.
Right.
Leave some social media contacts where they could check you out on social media, follow your pages and all of that good stuff before we get out of here.
Cool. Check me out at Kairo McLean, KAIRO_MCLEAN. We are their friends, so come around the bend and I'll show you again.
Yeah. Now, man, I know this conversation here, a lot of people are going to get some good insights to who you are as a person. Because they see you sing, they see you 5-minute interview here and there. But this is why I really want to sit down and say, okay, you're still at the beginning of your career, but this is like a timestamp.
Yes, it is.
You know how Drake and those guys do these timestamp records?
Absolutely.
6/16 in LA? This is, what's today's date? Today is May 2nd. This is
May 2nd in Toronto.
in Toronto. You understand? What? Timestamp. Now, man, I really, 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 really rate you, bro.
Yeah,
You
give
understand?
thanks.
No, your mind, bro, is so crazy when it comes to what you listen to and what you could do. World-class musicians, most of them do not play more than one instrument. You play several, bro. You understand? You understand the foundation, but you're still bigging up Hancho Hoodlum.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's just
Absolutely.
that diversity there is going to get you to where you're going.
Right.
You understand?
Give thanks, And even meeting Earl Chinadem in Jamaica. Big up Jamila.
Yeah.
I had to plug that. Big up Jamila, my sister,
Yeah.
She linked me to Earl China and I got to vibes with great musician from the Wailers.
Amazing, bro.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's just like how you hear him on the record, just like how you hear him on stage.
And he has his stories, bro.
Yeah,
You
he
understand?
does. He has the understanding of the music, from the root.
And that's what you want. You want those little nuggets that you take from it. But as you said, Sizzla gave you some nuggets. Earl Trina gave you some nuggets. You got some nuggets. By just being around, continue to listen. But most of all, listen to yourself.
Yes,
You
sir.
understand? Yourself is always going to tell you what feels good and what doesn't feel good.
Most definitely.
Mr. McLean.
Mr.
Madam
Masad.
Mean.
Mad and mean. I mean.
Moms. Papa. Big up yourself and thank you guys for making this happen. You hear me?
Right?
Timestamp, right? May 2nd in Toronto.
May 2nd in Toronto.
Bomb. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out.
Do it.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.